This is China, a bustling country with thriving cities, busy streets filled with endless traffic and a powerful military. People here are living lavish and extravagant lives, as if this place were a paradise on earth. However, this is also China: impoverished villages, dirty and chaotic streets, people plagued by illness, and those bound by the struggles of life. It seems, at times, like a living hell. That's right, this is the reality in China. While some people live extremely wealthy lives, others face extreme poverty. Let's turn our attention back to Shanghai, a city that serves as a hub for China's wealthy elite. In the Jing'an district of Shanghai, the price of a single villa can exceed 100 million yuan. Their daily spending habits are even more astonishing. Can you believe it? A trip to the supermarket could cost them thousands of dollars. A single night in a hotel can run into the thousands. And opening a bottle of wine at a high-end restaurant might set them back tens of thousands of dollars. Yet for them, these are just ordinary expenses. In contrast, people in remote rural areas live in poverty. A family's annual income often doesn't exceed $5,000, and they live frugally, trying to avoid any waste. Due to poor infrastructure, many elderly people have never left their hometowns in their entire lives. They have no idea what the outside world is like. But that's not the worst of it. The biggest challenge in their lives is dealing with illness. In China's remote rural areas, there aren't even proper clinics, let alone hospitals. Most of the time, when someone gets sick, they simply endure it, relying on their body to pull through. If they can't, they have no choice but to accept their fate. It's a heartbreaking reality, because in many cases, illnesses could be treated if they could just access a hospital. But in these impoverished areas, there's nothing they can do. Why is there such a huge wealth gap in China? On one side, there's luxury and extravagance, while on the other, there's extreme poverty. To understand this, we have to look back at the founding of the People's Republic of China. In 1949, when the new China was established, the country was in a state of poverty and backwardness for decades, due to both international circumstances and internal challenges. Everyone was in the same situation, no money in their pockets, and many struggled to get enough food. It wasn't until 1978, when Deng Xiaoping became China's de facto leader, that things began to change. He introduced the policy of reform and opening up, focusing on economic development as the country's primary goal. Once the country's long-term policies were set, the economy began to stabilize and gradually improve. The lives of the people also saw significant improvements. The majority of the population went from struggling to get enough food to eventually being able to eat their fill. In the past, meat was only eaten during holidays, but later, people were able to have it every day. However, the real turning point in the wealth gap in China came in the 1990s. Earlier, we mentioned that after Deng Xiaoping became China's top leader in 1978, he established the country's focus on economic development. After more than a decade of effort, the national economy experienced rapid growth. Real estate, finance, manufacturing, and many other industries flourished. As the economy developed, a small group of people were the first to benefit from the country's growth. They became leaders in their respective fields, with some even making it onto the Forbes billionaires list. But why were these few people the ones to lead the way to wealth? This question brings us back to the issue of China's vast wealth gap that we mentioned earlier. I think there are a few key reasons for this. First, the upper class, thanks to the connections and backgrounds of their parents, were the first to claim a portion of the country's resources. These individuals have inherent advantages when it comes to access to national policies, information, and even bank loans. Second, the uneven distribution of national resources plays a role. Due to geographical factors, the government tends to prioritize funding and policies for coastal cities. These cities benefit from convenient port transportation, which facilitates foreign trade, and also have abundant marine resources, offering more possibilities for economic diversification. Third, the imperfect social security system is another factor. The Chinese government provides limited financial assistance and policy support to rural areas and farmers, making it difficult for them to benefit from the same level of development. Even today, China's agricultural production has not been fully mechanized. In an industrialized society, agriculture itself doesn't generate much income. Furthermore, Chinese farmers have limited arable land. Due to various environmental factors, farmers have long been part of the low-income group. I believe these three factors are the root causes of China's vast wealth gap. As social contradictions continue to grow and public opinion becomes more influential, the Chinese government has been making efforts to address the issue, implementing policies to balance the country's enormous wealth disparity. The significant wealth gap is a challenge faced by every country, but today's wealth gap in Chinese society is extreme, so vast it's hard to describe. It remains uncertain whether China can resolve this social issue in the future.